Welcome back. It's surprising that that 10 minutes certainly goes very quick, doesn't it? So it's no sooner you've gone than you've got to get back, or if you like Neil, you don't leave. So welcome back, everybody. I'm sure that you'll all agree that that first half was excellent. Some great images, and even though we all have our own genres of photography, our own types of photography that we like, at the end of the day it's great to see images from other people, everyday images, not necessarily competition images, but everyday images that other member of the club likes, so it is good that that we see images from other people. And I must admit, to me it does inspire me to see other people's images, and I think, God, I like that, and I really ought to have a bit more of a go about that. So I hope you've all enjoyed it, and that that everybody will return for the second half. I can't tell you that the second half is going to be better than the first half, because both of them are going to be good. So it should be just as good the second half as the first half. So just going to give people a couple more minutes just to get themselves sorted, get back and get signed in, so that we know we've got everybody. I see that we've got Nick Cam with us, so welcome to you. Hello everyone. The first half kept cutting me out. You're gonna have to pay the bill. It's no good. It only works if you pay the bill continually, not partly. So just looking if anybody else has got anything to say. No, we've just got the normal comments to each other, and as I've just said, numbers have shot up straight away. Ray's used a gigabyte of data, so that's not bad. How many gigabyte do you have, Ray? If you've only got 2 gigabyte a month, then it's not so good, but if you've got a few gigabyte, you're perfectly all right. So hi Michael, Steve, Grahame H, everybody else. So welcome back to everybody. I'm just going to look. I'm not ignoring you all by looking elsewhere, but I'm just getting myself sorted, getting one or two things opened, ready, so that we can go on ready for when everybody gets back. We've got quite a few of everybody back, and so we're just picking up numbers. Don't forget, give us a quick click on the likes button, and it does just help with our presence on YouTube. So bought an extra 5 gig for a tenner. You didn't tell me how many gig you normally have, Ray. I only have 4 gig because I just don't use it. When I use my phone, I'm usually at home anyway, and I get it over the Wi-Fi, so I get 4 gig. The data, lower the resolution. All right. That Neil, he tells us lots of things, doesn't he? He's our tech person on the committee. He's not really, but, well, he is actually. I'll explain when we get there, but he also gives us a few bits of technical information when we need it. So 2 gig. Oh, that's not too bad then. You've bought a bit extra, so you're all right. So that's going to be great. The rest of it will last you the rest of your holiday. So, excuse me. Right. We're going to be starting now with Jill. Jill is our competition secretary. Does a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes with the competitions and with helping everybody else, including me, because I tend to either forget where I've put things, or I don't know whether she's sent them to me or not. And so, Jill, can you just tell me such and such? So, once again, as with all of the other committee members, a big thank you, Jill, to you for all of that you do for the club. And I'm sure that the longer standing members of the club will totally agree with me that you do a wonderful job, as do all of the members of the committee. Excuse me. Right, we're going to get going with Jill's images. I'm sure those last one or two people will join us, but I shall be getting set up with Jill's comments, etc. So I'm just going to get rid of myself again, and you'll have a nice clear picture then. So there you go. Nice clear picture. So here we go. Let me just put that bag up. So, let me have a quick slurp. Right, these are, as I said, Jill's images, our competition secretary. She's put numbers 1 to 3 are images taken either with long exposure or light painted or both. Something that I have started having a go at since having a lesson with Grahame. Me. I can thoroughly recommend it if you haven't already tried it, but be warned, it can get quite addictive. 1 and 2 were to be light painting sessions at Gibraltar Point, but something I've never seen before, the inlet where the boats are couldn't be accessed because of a very high tide, where it had come over within minutes of me taking number 2 to almost up to the visitor centre. I must admit, I was there that night, and the water just appeared so quick, and we decided to leave. And the water, when you go over that hump at Gibraltar Point, oh dear, I got a frog in my throat. When we got to that hump where you go over that water, we'd had to drive through water to get out. So I've never seen water there like it. So, exceptional high tide at Gibraltar Point. This one's light painted, and the settings were f4, 17mm, 6-second exposure, and of course on a tripod. Whoops. Number 2, high tide Gibraltar Point. On this one, the settings were f4, 25mm, a 1/6 of a second exposure, and this one was handheld. This is a Rambler's church at Walesby, and of course this one was light painted. So I think, if I remember rightly, this was where I took Jill on the training night to get some images. So this was, I think, I'm not sure, but I believe this might have been Jill's first attempt. But anyway, doesn't matter. So this was light painted, settings 800, ISO 800, f3.5, 12mm, 8-second exposure, and of course on a tripod. So I think my voice is giving up. Excuse me. Numbers 4 to 9 were taken on a committee evening out in Lincoln to specifically take photos for this evening's meeting. We started at the Brayford and worked our way around the lower city. I decided to shoot into the setting sun over the Brayford to see what I could get. Quite like the effect. Quite like the effect. Then on to the newish bus station and along to Cornhill Square. Love the light set into the concrete section at ground level in the Cornhill. For some reason reminds me of the bumping car circuit at the fair. Then to the much photographed empowerment statue over the Witham. So silhouettes over the Brayford was the last one, I do believe. Yeah, the last one. This one's shooting into the sun, Brayford. ISO 64, f5.6, 75mm, 800th of a second exposure, and on a tripod. Got a lovely glow, that one, hasn't it? Move myself up a little bit. Lincoln bus station. Settings on this one was ISO 200, f2.8, 19mm, a 13th of a second exposure, handheld. Great detail there. Waterstones square. Settings on this one was ISO 200, f2.8, 22mm, 15th of a second exposure, and of course on a tripod. And once again, if you look at that image and cast your mind back to Graham's and Bob's, it's a different interpretation again, isn't it? Slightly different position, different settings, and that's what photography is about. It's great, isn't it? You know, to be able to get the same subject, but at the end of the day, get different images. So just getting myself sorted. Whoops. This one's Waterstone Cornhill. ISO 200, 2.8, 18mm, 15th of a second on a tripod. And once again, that's very similar to Grahame Halliday's, isn't it? So, very clear image. Empowerment over the Witham. Settings for this one was ISO 200, 2.8, 40mm, a third of a second exposure, handheld. Some good tones there. This gentle orange glows, and on the brickwork and the top of the tree there. Little bit different interpretation. We all seem to want to try and get this bottom of this one here in, and just a different interpretation again. 20 past 10 at night, still looks like daylight. So numbers 10 and 11 were taken on a photo holiday to the Cairngorms that Grahame runs. Gail, Tony and I were lucky enough to get there and back virtually the week before lockdown started. So pleased we did. Grahame went back a week later, had a day there on the Saturday, and had to turn around on the Sunday and come home. So that wasn't good. But pleased you all had a good time. Amazing area. Number 10 is an early morning down on the waterfront looking across the Firth of Forth. Love the stillness and the reflections. It's nice, that. Mine didn't turn out like that. Number 11. This is oh no, it's right, yeah. Number 11 was taken on the northeastern coast at Port Nocky. Just love the shape of this rock. And it's called Bow Fiddle. I suppose they get the fiddle bit from that bit on the right hand side. So the Bow Fiddle shot here is ISO 200, f16, 35mm 15-second exposure on a tripod. The just saw that comment. The misty effect on the water was because the waves were crashing quite high, and that misty effect is the waves splashing, which within the sort of time that we're up there, it's to try and get these sort of images that are a little bit different than the norm. Numbers 12 to 14 were taken during lockdown, either in the garden, the flying fuzzy thing, or on my 1 hour walk around the village. Not sure about the flying fuzzy thing, but just pleased to have captured something in flight. The poppy blowing in the wind was taken with my 4150 lens with a 2x converter on. Just loved the effect. So to give those of you who don't know, on the Olympus cameras, a 4150 lens is really in 35mm terms an 80 to 300 lens. Put a 2x converter onto that lens, onto that 150 lens, and all of a sudden you've got 600. And if you really want to go more, you've got an in-camera converter that Tony will tell you all about, and he uses it quite regular, and that's a 2x converter again. So you can make from a 150 lens, you get 1200mm. So super fuzzy flying thing, isn't it? So flying fuzzy insect, let me just go back one. Flying fuzzy insect, the settings were 200 ISO, f5, 70mm, 1/600 second exposure, handheld. Blowing in the wind was the poppy, ISO 200, f5.6, 300mm, 1/1000th of a second exposure, handheld. The along the beck at Netlham, ISO 200, f3.5, 28mm, 2500th of a second, handheld. Like that one as well. Right, numbers 15 to 18. Good evening, John. I see you've just joined us. Good evening, Michael Hudston. See you've just joined us. And so welcome back to everybody. Right, numbers 15 to 18 were taken the second week in September this year. Myself and a good friend usually go away for a couple of days this time of the year to take photos. Due to COVID this year, this year's trip was cancelled, so we decided to spend 2 full days localish. Is there such a word as localish? Yes, there must be. Taking photos. The first day was the Lincolnshire coast. Unfortunately and unsurprisingly, it was heaving, but we moved on to Sutton-on-Sea and managed to take a few pics of people suitably distanced enjoying themselves. Number 15 sums up the difference between the heaving bodies of Skeg and Cleethorpes to the much quieter, calmer Sutton. Let's have a look at these two first. 15, 16. So that was that one, 15 to 18. Yes, so they're all in here. 16 to 18 were taken on our second day when we went to Hull. Surprisingly quiet in the city centre, where we walked around the old town and ventured to the outskirts to view the graffiti artists' work. Number 17 sort of sums up this year for me. Number 18 just made me smile. A guy captured coming out of a boxing gym smoking a fag. Yeah, great clarity in the graffiti there. So I'm just going to pop you back because I've got a few settings for you, so we'll just let you know what they are. Not a care in the world, this one's called, Sutton-on-Sea. ISO 200, 2.8, 40mm, 6,400th of a second, handheld. Princess Quay, Hull, 200ths of a second, 3.5, 24mm, 3200 second handheld. Sign of the Times hull, 200ths of a second, 4.5, 31mm at 500ths of a second handheld. This is the guy smoking. So Smoking Joe Louis, hull, 200ths of a second, 5.6, 16mm, 250 a second exposure. Sorry, it was ISO 200, handheld again. To finish off with, 19 and 20 are two of my derelict decay images. These were both taken at a derelict farm in the Woles. I love the windows and doors and can't walk past old or decrepit examples. That also goes for stairs, as you can see with these two final images. So old farmhouse window in the Woles, ISO 200 f5, 20mm at a 30th of a second. Even see into the back wall, can't you? Number 20, these old stairs in the Woles, ISO 100, f4, 24mm, an 80th of a second handheld. So that's when I get it right, Jill's collection. We're to the end of them, so a big round of applause to Jill. Thank you very much, Jill, for putting your photos in this evening. The next one is one of our junior members of the club. By that I mean age, not everything else. Sorry, Neil. Let me just open this. Put his first image up for you now. I'm just going to turn a piece of paper over because I've got Neil's on a sheet of paper rather than on the screen. So number 1 is Geese on the Lake, and this one was taken with Nikon D7-200 52mm f11 640 the second, taken at Clumber Park on an outing with the club. Loved the morning mist that day. Really was good, wasn't it? Really was a great day. Why have I gone? Let me just start that one again because I want it on black. Why is it going on white? Must be the way that Neil sent them through. Just it's opening up in viewer rather than... I'll leave it anyway just to save messing about. It's just opened up in a different because of the way it's been told to do it. So that was number 1. Number 2 is Swan on the Brayford. Once again taken with the Nikon 2.8 3200 seconds 640. Taken on a mono day outing with the club. Blown out on the Swan's back, but I still like it. Do you know, Neil, I always say to people, it doesn't matter as long as you like it. That's all that matters, really. If you're happy with it, you've cracked it. So, broad-bordered bee hawk moth feeding. Taken with a Nikon again with a Sigma macro lens this time, 105 macro lens. f4.5, 320 second, ISO 250. Taken at home in my garden. This was a tricky shot, but fun chasing it around. Nice image. Painted lady feeding. Nikon D7-200 again. The Sigma lens again. Roughly the same settings. Taken at Chambers Farm Wood Wildlife Garden. Always amazed by their detailed pattern or patterns. Red and white dahlia, taken with a Nikon again and the macro lens. Taken at home in my garden. Some blemish spots removed in snapseed. Lone sheep on the Yorkshire moor. Taken with a Nikon again. In fact, I think Most of these will be taken with a Nikon, with it being Neil. Taken up near RAF Fylingdales. My love for the moors goes back to childhood. It's such a beautiful place. Chugging up the hill. Taken at Beckhole on the incline up to Goathland. This part of the North York Moor Railway is great as the steam trains have to work hard to get up the hill, giving better smoke pictures. War is Hell. Taken at the Woodhall Spa 1940s event. I love the facial expressions, especially the girl staring into the lens, and the dog with his huge tongue hanging out. If you have never been to this event, I can highly recommend it. Plenty to photograph. Hanging out with the man on the moor. Taken up on the Yorkshire moors again. This was a little idea I had. It's not the best photo, but it made us laugh for the rest of the day. Very good, very good. By the way, folks, forgot to tell you that Neil is a very valuable member to the committee, and he deals with all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc., etc. And so all of the posts that you see is all down to Neil, so make sure that you like them and share them, etc. Get the club known. So thank you very much, Neil, for all of your hard work in that. There's virtually an image a day onto all of the media types, so well done, Neil. Nana and granddaughter. Taken with the Nikon once again. Converted into black and white in Snapseed. Taken at Trentham Gardens. This was purely candid and not posed. I converted to black and white as it was a very bright day and it washed the colours out. There's always a picture there somewhere, isn't there? Right. Ready for takeoff. Nikon again. Taken at a club special visit to Derek Tyndall's house. He put on a display or two for us. It was a good day, that was. It was really good. Wonderful Whitby. Now we're on to the Neil's phone now. So this is the OnePlus 7T Pro phone. Taken on my phone's widest angle on a cool February morning down at Whitby Harbour. Always comes up as a good picture when you take a picture of Whitby. Don't know why, but it does. Sunset Thunder. OnePlus 3T. So another phone, but earlier model. F2, 200-second, ISO 100. This is a phone panorama. Taken mine on my old phone, stood in a field behind my house. I love the dark clouds with the orange hues. Via Luftwaffe. This is taken, we're back on the Nikon for this one. Nikon's D720, as I said. Taken at RAF Waddington. Sorry, this is the frame has been added in Snapseed. So, taken at RAF Waddington, 4 German Typhoons were visiting on an exercise. The blue sky was quite boring, so I added a frame to give it a boost. Nice one. Here comes the harvest. Taken from a footpath behind my house. Thankfully, I knew the farmer and he was happy for me to take some photos. Staithes Cobbles. Taken on holiday in Yorkshire, nowhere near as good as Jill's winning Hull photo, but I like the different colours of the house fronts and window frames. You didn't convert it to black and white though, Neil, so we don't really know, do we? Perfect pose. Oh, very good there, Neil. Very good. This is Nikon again, of course. Taken at the little lake at Biscathorpe. Call me soppy, but two of my newest loves in life. Ah, isn't it nice? Steamy footplate. Converted to black and white in Snapseed. Taken at the Vale of Rydal Railway in Wales. Probably said that wrong, I do apologise. In Wales, where they were wiping everything down with wet cloths, which caused this wonderful steam. Tiny fly. This is back onto the phone. So this is taken with the 7T Pro. Phone macro setting. Taken at work on a metal table. This fly was no bigger than a little fingernail. Very clear. Very clear. And the last one of Neil's is selfie. Selfie. Would you call that a selfie? Yes, you're in it, but we can't see what you look like. Nikon again. Taken at Woodall Spa. A perfectly polished hubcap makes a great mirror. Well, Neil, absolutely crack on, mate. Really good. Enjoyed those as well. So thank you for your images, Neil, and once again, as with all of the other committee members, thank you immensely for the work that you do on a daily basis for us. So that is good. Thank you very much indeed. Right, who have we got next? Ray. Ray, I better get on hurry before you lose all your data. So start with Ray's. Oh, that's come up on the wrong page, so let's quickly whip it across to the other page. Make it a bit bigger so I can read it. So, here we go. So, what does Ray do? Ray is our vice chairman, who will be taking over from Bob as and when. So, he is one of the newer members to the committee, with becoming the chairman nearly a year ago now, so it's all gone past very quickly. So Ray says the first 5 photos are what I would call street photos. 1, I took this one in Belgium a couple of years ago. I saw this woman in a red coat, so when she was headed for the steps, I got above her. I wonder what she's looking at. I know I was there. I know I was there. Well, you haven't told us what, Ray? That leaves us to imagine, doesn't it? That one won't go forward, so let me just choose number 2. Number 2 is, this was in Japan in a very crowded shopping street, but this girl was so engrossed in her photos she didn't notice or care, so I held my phone at hip height and took the shot with the added benefit of the man looking over her shoulder. What was she looking at? Number 3, this vagrant I took in Belfast. It begs so many questions. Why has he 2 umbrellas? What is in the bags? Why is he riding a girl's bike? Yeah. So many questions on all pictures, isn't there? If we look into them deeply, we can see different things. This photo looks like a black and white with only the red highlighted, but it is as taken, London near Whitehall. I like the connection between the red bag and the telephone box. Really works well. This one was taken in Madrid on a very hot day. This lady was spinning around to get the best selfie. so I took this one of her. I'll just point out there, folks, that these places that Ray's just told us here, that's sort of his 6-monthly travels. So, you know, it does. No, it isn't. Sorry, shouldn't have said that. There you go, Ray. Right, we're on to the next 5 photos. Are all taken on his phone. So number 6, this was an Ingham's firework display. I love the silhouettes and the smoke it conveys the scene quite well. Very good for a mobile phone. Oops, everything stopped there. Let me just start a few things because something just stopped that from working. Don't know why. Never mind, these things happen. Or they do to me anyway. Number 7, this was taken at Gran Canaria in January, just before lockdown. I love the sense of speed and the colours. Nice image again. I like the way you can read things through it as well. Just move on. A sunny day in Lincoln. I saw this reflection on the car roof, so waited for the 3 people and took the shot. A different way of taking a picture of the cathedral. Taken just outside my village at Fillingham. Obviously late summer, and I love the golden hay and the golden sky. Just move on. I've just got to do this one a little bit different. The next 5 are a lockdown walk in the Woles, and the clouds were fabulous. I love the yellow rapeseed against the blue sky. I was getting ahead of myself there, wasn't I? Right, the next 5 are indoor studio shots. Well, mostly my dining room table. These 3 flowers had a black backdrop. They were in a flower competition at Stowe Village. I did enter this for a competition and called it Floral Fireworks, as this is what it reminded me of. No one, apart from me, likes this photo. It is not technically very good, but it makes me laugh, as I called it, the last rites. I love the way the bystanders are looking on. I did think I'd got the wrong picture then, until I looked at the picture and saw what it was all about. No, nice image. It's amazing how you can tell a story with an image, isn't it? A pink rose. I like the colour with the black background. I like your lighting as well, Ray. Your lighting makes, you know, it makes the picture, doesn't it? Really makes the picture. Just having a quick slurp, so do excuse me. Pink rose. A real dollar. So a real dollar bill that I had. Took the photo and cropped it to its actual size. I love the detail in the note. I have since printed it off 10,000 times. I don't know whether anybody's ever tried it, but I did some pictures of some notes and I had it on my printer, and the blooming printer wouldn't even print it. It knew what it was. So very, very good, that, Ray. Very good. Saw this one on the internet and thought I would give it a go. Printed off some music and added the spoons. Not sure what the music was, but I'm sure the musician amongst us will know. Again, a bit different. Yep, it is. Yep. And once again works very well. The last five, whoops. The last five are just some I've picked out for no particular reason. Number 16. This is of a church ceiling somewhere in Russia. I was looking at the ceiling when the sun came out and illuminated this central area with the picture of Christ in the middle. A divine photograph. Can't remember where this lake was, but I was this pedalo. I'll start again. Sorry, folks. Can't remember where this lake was, but I was this pedalo type boats were all tied up, waiting to be hired. Love the pastel colours with the chrome. A few years ago, a few of us went to Disability Sport Yorkshire, as a friend of mine who is patron wanted some photos for publicity and fundraising. I took this one and I love the way it looks as though number 165 has kicked the bar off. Yeah, I can see what you mean. This photo of the bikes was again taken in Belgium. It was taken early Sunday morning and it reminded me of how drunk were they on Saturday night. Very good. Lastly, this was taken at Doddington Hall Sculpture Exhibition. This statue of the angel was the most expensive at £60,000. I love the way it appears to be looking at the church. Yeah, very nice images again, Ray. And I think you've just taken us round most of, I was going to say Europe, but most of the world. So thank you for your tour, guided tour, as well as your images. Great images, and once again, as with everybody else, thank you very much for your input for the committee. Well, we're getting a little bit later now, so I've taken a little bit longer. I haven't got no writing on mine, so I'll just say a little bit about them as I go through them, and so we might get through a few more. So as you all know, what am I? What do I do? I started the camera club in 1996. I called a meeting in the old school at Dunholme, and we had about 17 people came on the night. By the end of the night, I had 10 members. We started the club with 10 members, and our club room was that canteen that's in the car park. The chairman of the old school said to me, to help you along, if you get electricity put in it and you set it all up, you can have that. And so we had that little room until we outgrew it, and I think there's a member or two that's still with us that can remember being in that room. So that's where we started. So I've been, during the time, competition secretary and everything else, but now I don't do a lot. Everybody else does it, and I just have my little say when they ask me what I think. So that's it. So we start off here at Frampton Marshes, and I just got this Avocet coming into land with the I love the way that the design on the wing is shown and the fan of the tail as it comes into land. This was taken very recently. Took Dane out on a training night, first night, to get the some light painting done. It was pitch black. It's absolutely amazing what the camera can see. But the way that you can take the images and the way that you control the light really works well. You have to work on things afterwards though, so you would only just, if you knew where to look, you would only just know and see the Milky Way, but then you have to work on it. But this particular barn is in a terrible position. It's not one that I would go back to on a regular basis at all, because the light pollution is terrible in all directions. So this is very similar. I could have pressed the shutter possibly at the same time as Jill did. I've got, once again, same subject, different view, but it does show you what you can do when you get the image. And this is Bow Fiddle, of course, one of the places that I go to up in Scotland. This is the brown argus, the one of the butterflies. This was taken on a day out, and I was going to tell you where I took it, but I can't remember. I always go to Frampton, then on the way back I go to somewhere else. Bob's been with me a couple of times, so has Jim, so if you can remember where it's called, just put it in the chat for me, thanks. Motor racing, love motor racing. So this is one from a Cadwell day, where you can go for free on their practice days, and they just do the practicing and you can just walk in and go and take the pictures. We are looking to try and get a day organised there at a weekend for people to go and take a few pictures. This is one up in the Cairngorms. Yeah, Kirkby Moor. That's it, Bob. Thank you very much. Kirkby Moor, that brown argus was. Small place, but quick look round is quite good. This was taken, funnily enough, I took a member of Cleethorpes Camera Club up to Scotland, and we was there. We literally had to stand there, legs apart, leaning against something to get any pictures. This was handheld. It was blowing like mad. But I absolutely love this effect on this picture. It has had a little bit of work done to it, but nothing much. The wind was blowing the snow. Great day up there. This is at a little place called Cullen. Once again, we was at one of the tours with Tony and Gail and Jill, and we came across well, I took them to this particular place. I love the way that this stone sticks up out of the ground all on its own. The only thing that I'm a little unhappy about is just this little mound here. I'm so annoyed at myself that it's breaking the line of the water. That just spoils it. It really does. This is absolutely perfect, this side, but it's just breaking the line of the water there. So to me, that's not spot on, but nevertheless. This is Fortrose Cathedral, another place that we went to, and it was just a lovely day. The lighting was spot on for us, and it's near to a place called Channery Point, where we go to see the dolphins. We don't see them very often, but it's really good looking for them. So, but this is Fortrose Cathedral. Great crested grebe at Walesby. This was taken with the old Canon before I got the Olympus, and so just love the photo. I like the droplets on its back. I really should have got rid of these two little bits here, one there and one there. They just spoil the image. This one is green woodpecker. Went to see a chappie that I know has the green woodpeckers. This is a young one, and I was talking to him in his kitchen, and this was taken through his kitchen window. This is taken with the The colour, it was all right, Neil. I was working out what you'd put. The colours of the duck are fantastic. Yeah, the green woodpecker, it just popped into the garden, so I pointed the camera through the door glass, and this was the picture that was taken. And this is as taken with the camera. I have a 300 prime lens, which is actually, because of the crop factor on the Olympus, is 600, and I had the converter on it as well, which makes it 840mm handheld, with whatever settings I had at the time. Macro shot, I've got a 60mm macro lens, which is 120mm in normal terms, and that's just handheld, once again taken with double flash. I've got double flash on the camera to overall light it. Absolutely love this picture. It's one of the best hare shots I've taken up in Scotland. You have to hike for about an hour to get there. Most people are lucky enough to see the hares. Some are lucky enough to get this close. Unfortunately, some aren't. But we do our best. But I just love this photograph. This was a scope shot, so I took this with a telescope with the 7D added to the scope, and it was probably, I would say that was nearly, blooming heck, 600 yards away, maybe 800 yards away with the scope and a camera added, hence the reason that it's not as clear as it should be. I'm going to have a quick drink. This one is a ptarmigan. They changed to white up on the Cairngorms. You have to climb quite high to find them. They change white in the winter, and this was taken about March time, and in fact March, April, sometime around there, and it's just changing back to its summer plumage. This bird is a cock bird because of the little red eyebrows there. There'll be a proper name for them eyebrows, but I can't think what it is. Puffin. This was a picture that Chris Peen took me to get on one of our day outs to Bempton Cliffs and Flamborough. She said, you might get a picture of a puffin if you come up here. So we went up there, and it's the nearest that I've ever been to getting cut off by the tide. We had to jump the water from a rock to get back to shore. So we only just made it, both Chris and I. This one was taken with the Canon, and so it is cropped quite a bit, hence the noise in the image. But the reason I put this one in was because the very, very difficult to get them going at the speed. This is on the dive going down for the food, against the trees in the background. You tend to normally lose focus, but this is one of the luckier ones where I didn't. So, picture of the redshank. This was taken on the last visit with Tony, Gale and Jill up in Scotland. Love the close-ups of the birds. I love the bird pictures anyway, as you all know. So, Rogie Falls, another place we go to. We go to a red kite place, and then after that we go to this Rogie Falls. Can get no end of different shots at this place. There's so many of them. So, got to put one of me old dog in, Anna. This is Ruby in her younger days when she would sit up for a while. She's getting a bit older now and just won't. Yeah, those one-legged birds. I just seen what Jill put. She's getting older now and can't sit up for any length of time, bless her. We took her out walking today, so we've had a day out with her. These are at a place called Silverton in Australia. these are the pics from the workers that built all of the houses in the 1800s at Silverton. Does anybody out there know what Silverton is known for? If I've told anybody before, don't put it down. Just see if anybody else knows it. But Silverton, Australia. It's I was going to say derelict. It's not derelict now, but there's only a few houses there. Just to finish the story off, here the pics are the pics of the workers who have died, and this is at the entrance to the cemetery. So Silverton is where all of the Mad Max films were made, and it is the remotest place that you could ever find. So you're probably 2.5 hours from the next bit of civilization. This is one of my favourite pictures. We are running a little bit over time, but I would just like to show you them. Some nice images. One of my favourite images, love this one, but unfortunately it's just a little bit soft on the wing edges on the back wing. But that was taken with a Canon. Snow bunting, taken up in Scotland in March. Lovely bird, always like to take these pictures. And so, yeah, silver mining, that was very correct in the area. So, yeah, snow bunting, and they during the summer they change colour to winter, so they are a changing bird. Like this picture, I like the way that the dead tree is echoed against the two live ones, making 3 images. There was a very, very small tree which sits behind the dead tree, but I just positioned myself to hide it. So, but taking pictures light-wise in Australia is also a problem in itself, because the contrast, that it's so bright all the time, it's unbelievable. You really want 1 ISO some days. It really is so bright. This is a picture of Walesby church, the Ramblers church up on the hill. It's locked at the moment. It is a working church, but it's not attended, so you can walk in with your dirty muddy boots, as does everybody else, but a very, very nice place. Little Wren, up in Scotland, was very, very dark where it was, so the ISO was very high, and which is giving it a little bit of noise. So, but that's as taken. It was that close. Another picture of the avocet, and it's just walking somewhere, obviously. So it's just off on its way, feeding, whatever. This is a stitched image of the Cairngorms from not far from Aviemore. This is 5 images stitched together post-process. So Bempton Cliffs, the gannets. So we all like to get the picture of the beaks touching or crossing, and just managed this one. I don't like this one as much as the one I showed recently, because I would have liked to have been lower, so I'd got a better angle on it. This is a picture, funnily enough, taken with totally the wrong settings at totally the wrong time. I just turned round, I had all of the settings wrong, but it just happened to be there. This was at the woods at near Bardney, which has gone from my mind because I've said so much tonight, and I just turned round and saw it. I was with Martin at the time, pressed the shutter, and that was the result. Marsh Harrier. The Marsh Harrier was at Farings, and so it was just a grab shot. This was taken handheld with the Olympus at with a 2x converter, making the camera 1200mm handheld. Chambers Farm Wood. Thank you, Neil. That's the word I was looking for. This is a razor bill. This one once again is at Bempton. We only got one more picture to go now, folks. I do like these birds. They're lovely birds, and of course if you're taking any of these birds, do remember to sort yourself out to get these whites so that you don't blow them out. You know, no, you can't see feather detail, but you can see detail in there, and that's what you must get. So set your shutter speed, etc., f-stops and ISOs to make sure you get detail in there. So, and my last one is one of my favourite birds. I must have taken thousands, and when I say thousands, I mean thousands of pictures of these red kites when I've taken people up to Scotland. We go to a place up there and we take the pictures every time, and you can take a 1,000 to 1,500 as quick as that, within 15 minutes, 20 minutes, if you say half an hour, and it's all over. So that's my last image, and so it's been a pleasure showing you these images tonight. We've had some absolutely superb images from the committee members. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and I hope that you've enjoyed the images that they've all produced. Very good selection from the committee members. Brilliant night. Thank you very much, everybody. And you know, next week, don't forget, it's my challenge. We've ended up with about mid-70s in the competition, and it's going to be a good night because I've looked at them once. Jill sent me them yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, and she just sends me the pictures and the titles, and that's all I've got to go on, as a judge should always do. So I've looked at them, and I'm telling you this, it's going to be a struggle. So next week, President's Challenge, and look forward to seeing you all there, and I hope you've all enjoyed it. Good night from him, and good night from me for now. Do have a good night, and don't forget, next Tuesday, if you want to join us, let me know that you're coming to Frampton. Be at Frampton. I've forgotten the time, but do check my email that I sent you. I think I said be there for 8 o'clock. So we'll see you all next Tuesday who come. Otherwise, I shall see you all next Thursday. Goodbye for now. Take care. Bye.